So there's a verse in J. Rinpoche's prayer, which is excellent in the beginning, middle, and end. And it says that in order to overcome the entire extent of existence, existence here refers to specifically to samsara, which is the aggregates which are taken up by means of karma and the mental afflictions. And in order to overcome them, in order to get rid of that, one has to eliminate the cause which gives rise to that entire samsara. And that cause is the misconception which misapprehends the self, holding the self to be real. And so in order to get rid of that primary cause of the entire range of existence, then one has to engage in, has to develop insight, and that insight is a prerequisite for and insight has to also be combined with shamatha, the pacification of the mind, as a basis, and then those two have to be conjoined so that they cooperate with each other, and that then gives you the means by which one can develop the analytical wisdom, which is the direct antidote to the misconception of the self as being real, and that enables one to overcome that basic cause of samsara.
Oh yeah, 되게 시대는 별 한도 또 단대 또 단대봐 시대는 비 아니 가소리 인지 렌지 또 단차스 시대는 비 인지 렌지 인 시대 고바를 쳐밤 시대는 밤 아니 시대 고바를 쳐봐게 아니 인지 그 렌지 연바데 동바 시거래 시다스나 안가와 시거래스나 아니 렌유기 저와 채섬지 양대되라. 와. 렌유기 저와 채섬 양대되라. 렌유기 저와 채섬지 양대되라. 렌유가라. 아니 되게 시외 타르네. 아니 현대도 섬전신 아니 동안라 라와 되어바기 아니 인제의 재미도 봐인장. 아니 시달님이 인지 렌지 인. 와.
And then, in addition to that, one has to take up compassion, which enables one to overcome the extreme of peace. The extreme of peace is the nirvana, which is the mere cessation of samsaric existence, and that is an extreme and that needs to be overcome as well. And in order to overcome that, to be able to conquer that, one has to have the compassion, which is sort of unbearable compassion for all of the other suffering sentient beings.
Oh yeah, 시간에 이제 내지. 텐트에 아니 시치타 고제기 아니 셰러니 가서 시치타 고제기 아니 남이보다단 차위 차니 파시 시법편바 쳐봐이 신내반대 순대 공부하셔 아니 시번 루제기 아니 시라 가상가도 얘기 직된비 시라 직된비 아니 남라게 된비 아니 신내단 하동 텐트에 직된비 나라 된비 신내단 하동 다 가서 쉬워나 신신이 사오마라 라바다 고마라 쉬웠다디 사오마다 라바다 고마라 쉬웠다디 잠바 일베나 되발라 라바당 삼된 고마 삼된 라 쉬웠다디 가라 아니 지카소레 테라테네 아니 신내 주베 텐트와들라 신내 주 테라테나 상동 주 아니 텐트에 아니 신내라 사실 신내다 상동데 대점지 아니 가서로 코안주지 와 다시 가서 인지 신내 방데 송저 공부하셔 텐트야 코아 교원주지 텐트와데 탑시 탑게 남지 마스나 탑게 남지 쓰가 탑게 남다 마잖아 아니 코안주지 주제만 주고 말이 코이 교원주지 인상 텐트에 코리 교원 주지기 아니 가서래 직된비 신내다 상동데 반데 파지 스바 편바 쳐봐 스바 편바 쳐봐기 텐트와데 직된비 남지 시라 공부할 때네 아니 스바 편바 쳐봐 편지길래 아니 얘도 주지길래 아니 가서래 무시체제 아니 감고마기 저두체길래 두스 조거래 인상 파지 심바 편바 쳐봐이 아니 시라데 반데 순저 공부쇼 세데 순제데 다다가 시시탄이비시 시시타 고제기 시람 인제당 안내 상동 순지대와 야나 가서 돈이 도비 안에 신라 손대와 아니 신내 반대 손대 공부하셔 전에 다수 시간 말이야 그래서
송절라 탑시야 토니 도베 시라바 그런 중대 시락 중대
신라 손대 공부하셔 세세 그래서나 손대 세대라 여기 시시 타고 시다 고제 그 시라당 시다 고제 그 인제니 손대 대와 야나 돈이 도비 안에 신내당 항동 손대 대와 이걸 자 쳐고 있지
So then it says that one should abandon the extreme of peace, and abandoning peace here can also be interpreted in the sense of abandoning the type of shamatha and insight that induce that propel one to be reborn in samsara. Mere shamatha meditation and mere insight meditation, if they're done as we described yesterday in the way in which one is comparing the relative superiority of the higher realms compared to the relative coarseness and inferiority of the lower realms, then one is developing simply a type of meditation, meditative absorption that will propel one into rebirth, further rebirth in samsara. So as mentioned yesterday, the way that works is by comparing, if one observes the superiority of the upper realm, an upper realm of existence, for example, the first meditative concentration in the physical realm of existence above the desire realm, and develops shamatha with respect to that. Then doing analytical insight meditation, comparing the superiority of that to the inferior conditions of the desire realm. Then when one accomplishes that kind of combination of shamatha and insight, then one simply has established the karma, or the a sort of cause for rebirth into that realm of existence, but one has not achieved any kind of liberation from samsaric existence whatsoever. So the prayer then says that, bless me to be able to abandon that kind of meditation, which that worldly path of meditation, which induces me to be reborn in the samsara, and instead bless me to be able to integrate actual shamatha and vipassana, shamatha and insight, so that one will be able to become free from samsara at least. So there, if one's doing it that way, one takes emptiness as one's object and develops shamatha and then insight, and through the investigative, analytical wisdom that ascertains emptiness, then one can become free from samsara at minimum. But superior to that then is another way of taking the combination here of the two things, is not merely looking at it in terms of the combination of shamatha and insight, but rather seeing it as the combination of wisdom and method, so that the wisdom frees one from samsara, but the method, which is compassion, frees one from the extreme of peace. Selfish, self-centered kind of achievement of self-centered kind of nirvana.
Oh yeah, that tender we ani sila sonde toba chebalang. That sila sonde de toba tuyo karere sana ani donila mebi sandong tolde kana toba chebala ngela ngewa tu sine dukwa sila ke korumde ngela donila mebi sine to tenel de ani donila mebi sandong top 상동 도바다 안에 실라 손저 도바 뒤냐 바체 어 텐라와데다 가서래 텐들기 림바데 안에 티바 치중 안에 가서래 안에 티바 치중이다 안에 바진티 바다 알라메다 좀다 쉬워 강의 관도 체내양 안에 오 실라니가 고름데 응라 시내 좀네 안에 티 가서 제라 안에 함도 접게 돼. 림바투스 인시 가서 좀 봐.
So then the way this works in terms of developing shamatha and vipassana, shamatha and insight, is that first one has to develop, and here we're talking about it in terms with taking emptiness as the object, in that form of doing it. Then one establishes emptiness as discussed previously. One takes emptiness as one's object in the development of shamatha. And then once one has accomplished shamatha, then one develops insight with emptiness as the object. And when one has when one has developed the sort of definitive or definitive insight with respect to emptiness, then one has at that time a combined shamatha and insight, conjoin them together so that they're functioning together. And then this way of doing it is, as we said yesterday, we were discussing how this works in the various vehicles and systems of Buddhism. So within it's common. This way of doing it is common to both the Hinayana, the greater vehicle, and the lesser vehicle. And then also it's common within the mantra system of Mahayana. It's common. This form of doing it is utilized within the three lower classes of tantra within the mantra system.
난조 라메라니 있어야지. 아니 난조 라메라 삼삼당 지신이라서 비짠조 난조 시라기 두주기 셰바칸데레세나 딱 당어 섭지 시차와 난조 라메라니 아니 시지명을 가서 랑게섬네 따와나 최근 랑게섬라 나야 최대한 게 도전에 최단 최니 매바고 세야되다 나길 셰바 맞아와체 파진티비 셰바 코란 자와제이나 랑그 셈네 따와나 아니 최근 랑 셈지 다니 점라 내바리 최근 최탐지 랑 셈지 다니 점도 주마리 최대나기 도제네 어 셈지 따바 가서 셈기 다니도 주바되라 아니 최단 최니 매바고 세가 아니 되라 랑 셈지 정말 마도바게 최다 천이 매봐. 그러나 네가 최다 천이 세대 순대 자생 그 당바들라 잘. 어디 롱데 제대 가나 होला. 최다 천이 매봐고 시 상대来顺百讲. 나 여기 셈세대 셈지 단위 점도 줘봐대. 안에 치료 가봐. 치료 매봐. 셈점라니 때내서 치료 퇴라 믿다고 최담자나 셈지 단위 점도 줘봐 인상 아니 치료지 퇴라 믿다고 치료지 퇴 매봐 당고시와는 랑셰라 셈점라니 때내서 치료원에 셰와차 레셰니분을 대타하래 그러와 시소지 땜비 셈점라 미바탕 단디라 티신이라 미바다 나조지 사숨 땜비시 나조가 사숨세데 되시와래 가사가 담에 도배 나조가 사 송아 때문에 도배 나조를 사 전바 때문에 소배 나조가 사 아니 댐밤 받도배 나조 사세 지단 나조 사 시와 다들 가사가 담에 도배 나조 사도 마송면은 좋아 이 컨트리에서는 섬장라라 미바탕 티신이라 미바탕 남에지 나조 숨 때문에 세가라 아니 semzala mebatang tishinila mebatang ta semzam ba khorangi la lojibola jaya jidang shiro medenge uma 가서래 나저라 지부 우마라지 바당 투몬드 자야지 이 영초거라 안디 주다야.
So this was we were beginning to discuss yesterday the way in which this applies to the unexcelled yoga tantra. And in that, there's a manner in which one can do this with respect to mere mind or mind only, and this is how it's explained in the instruction on the perfection of wisdom text, and that says that when one has examined one's own mind, all phenomena abide in one's mind. And all of these phenomena abide in the vajra of space without phenomena and nature. Nature here is dharmata. So one way to read this, this is a quotation from the Guhya Samaja, and one way to read this is that taking it not specifically with respect to the way in which it can be interpreted in the mantra system, but rather taking it in a way that's common, interpreting it in a way that's common to the perfection system of Mahayana. And here, then, one would read it as presenting a view which negates, which it rejects objects which are external in the sense of not being of the same entity as the mind. So mere mind refers to objects being of the same entity as the mind. And so that verse then from the Guhya Samaja can be understood in a similar way to what is found in the introduction to Lankavatara Sutra, where it says that having ascended to mere mind, don't think of external objects. And that also can be read then in accordance with the mere mind school of interpretation, or mind-only school of interpretation, which holds that external objects are not actually independent of mind, but rather are of the same entity as the mind. And then one can also read this. There's another reading of that text in the that's given in the Essence of Good Explanations, where it says that having ascended to mere mind, one should think of them as So then one can read that as saying that in that reading that one should think that there are no external objects, and when one does it that way, one is doing it in a way which is common to both the mind-only school, mere mind school, and likewise for the Madhyamikas who don't accept the existence of external objects. So that can be construed that way. Then that verse also describes explains three levels of yoga. The first being that which observes mere mind, the second which observes suchness, tatata, and then the third which observes non-appearance, absence of appearance. Those three yogas are mentioned here. There's another way of talking about them as four yogas when one includes absence of selflessness of persons, but here it's only the three.
Oh yeah. 주로 저는 믿다고 세대 랑시게 측현라 선삼란이 때나서 주로 몸에 시와차 시와리.
So in that other reading of this verse, these two lines from the introduction to Lanka Sutra, entrance to Lanka Sutra, it says one should not think. One should think that there are no external objects.
다들 제소지 때문에 심장을 미바단 티신이란 미바단 남에게 나줘서 숨된 세대 난조게 사신예배 나네. 난조게 사대라 가사가 다음에 또 난조게 사 아니 송화 때문에 또 난조게 사 아니 증바 때문에 또 난조게 사디 송화 세야돼 송화 아니 송제 참아 증바 가소래 송제 참아 자타다 수 때문에 참아 수단 자타다 좀 해봐 수 송제 참아단 자타다 좀 해봐 송화 때문에 증바 때문에 이체 아니 최단계다 라시지 매봐 나주지 우마나주를 때 도시 자유가라 아니 담보대라 당보대 셈자는 미바 세대 아니 됐어요. 가서래. 다 자그러면我提落到现在没办没有吃，你身上可能引起七六几天的买到，我不准备落汤，现在明个的，俺那再太太都没做不来，你让再太太都没做不当，让身体当你怎么都做不来，是这个这个，俺呢我告诉了去单位了没别，那就给他谈不得些，是吧？ 아니 대신이라면 봐 세가라 송화송지 참마단 자타다도 매바도 대 아니 난조 산이와 추지담에라면 봐 아니 타타들라 난조 집어 말한주라 추지담에라 봐라면 봐 아니 대신이라면 봐 대신 남에게 난조 세대가나 아니 란주바란 라니기 아니 지난 거 오고 때문에도 또 난조가 사슴 아니 좀 봐셔진
심삼 맥베티
뒷발 권인이 오대 아니 최지담에 라바 조단라 샘삼 샘삼에 최지담에 참원 줘야 돼 아니 장주바고 최지담에 라바 줘고 그래 조단 집어체
조단 집어 당보단 이빠 직바
당보 되게 순진자마 수단 자자자 매봐 대 저와 대 파지 그 저와 대산나라 될 요아래 싱크상복 저와 대산나라 뭐보다 뒤에 놓다 현지 무방에 위치를 굉장히 아니 샘점랑 샘지단이 점을 아니 주로지도 맞춰봐 말해
So the first of these, mere mind, there's ways of explaining this such that it accords with the way in which the Yogacara school establishes mere mind. So one can do that. One type of reasoning is that if we take a visible percept, like a patch of blue, and the perception, the visual perception, which is cognizing that visual percept, we observe that the visual percept of the patch of blue, as well as the perception itself, are always observed simultaneously. That is, there's never they're observed simultaneously, and because of the simultaneity of the percept and the perception, then there's no one establishes by that reason that the percept is itself of the same entity of the mind. There's no distinct, separate external object apart from the mind which is perceiving that object. So that way of explaining it is as it's given by the master Haribhadra, and in that way of explaining it also is a way. This would be understood by the Yogacara school as selflessness of phenomena in its subtle form of the selflessness of phenomena. But for the Yogacara Swatantrika Madhyamika school, this would be a coarse selflessness of phenomena. They would not accept that as the subtle level of the selflessness of phenomena.
Oh yeah. What number gonna just some damn by checking? They ane sa tambo nila said ane chujidame lami bagi ane semza lami badang. 아니 티신이라 미바 세가나 짐바 데메다 숭아 데메니월 라미비 아사 담보니라 양 아니 조금 다 조금 지시라 주부주 내라 대달라 미비 신내 좀네 티제수 아니 대라 미바게 아니 가서라 상동 주부주 다시 짐바 nga 샤바 나신기 차바 나베 차바 나베 지다와 미비 줄에 제주 라와 샤도 지다와라 미바기 아니 가서 상동 제와라 지다와라 미바기 신내 제바 온도 들어가 왔다 라와 샤도
디 규스나 카레 규 지다와 맥베 규
지다와라 미비 지다와라미 상동 줄에 기주 시그르와 지다와라미 줄에 기주 자와셔도
Langtongkra.
내가 신내지 티제라 안에 상동 제거와 자와셔와래.
So then the second one of these is called the observation of suchness, or another name for reality. There, instead of simply viewing subject and object as of the same entity, one and seeing them as mere mind in that sense, then one instead recognizes that both perceiving subject and perceived object are devoid of being real, and that is the second level of yoga, as it's explained in the threefold system of the stages of yoga as they're presented in the Yogacara Swatantrika school. So with respect to the first two stages of yoga, it appears that they are to be explained as being accomplished by means of developing shamatha and insight by means of placement meditation and analytical meditation, as it was previously explained. And it seems as though the way in which one develops shamatha, the way in which one develops insight, which is observing things as they are, is also similar, is accepted as by the author of this text, Ratnakara Shanti, as being similar to that.
Oh yeah, that dig. 자도 스탈라미지 가서 말라미지 가서 안에 따와 고아길로당 토마타와 땡라 베블루 다 된소 안에 오미슈나 샤바다 고와상 단에 따와 땡라 파니 단이 림바신도 안에 저런 개념사기 나가서 따도도 조거장 따와 땡라 파 조거장 아니 조금 미쳐봐게 십자대다 순고하래 조금 미쳐봐 랑글루니 난저 라메지 가수 다위 과와길로 음미슈나 총하다 쳐거라 음미슈나 때내가 내시고나 안 따왔다라 배라 서 안에 따위 콜루 과와길로 음미슈나 참 총하나 시샤고 그래 따따위 녀와 니네 안에 실라 송제 제니 안에 신의 상도 실라 송제 기타 안에 제니 안에 따와 좀와 티사나 경로라 기름당 조름기 제도기 가수 기름당 단 가수래 조름기 아니 냠샤가 마인 바 제도기 가수 태권한이라 쟤네 아니 일라 쳐봐 여장 조금 일라 쳐봐 여나 제마 일라 쳐봐 요아래서 여장 류라네 돈는 비뉴와 토비에서 아니 가수를 루마 슈네 투슨 유래내도니 나조지 토비 롱오마 슈네 팀숨 제와래 총위 아니 니와 토비 조른비 안 조른비 냠샤도 아니 태권나를 좋아나 아니 따도도 샤네 공바 내와 그장 아니 따도도 샤빙 안에 아니 소소집이 싫었대 뭐가체 자 자공 슈네 소소때 뭐장 상동의 자금雄贤의 중화다를 소소도 속도 비셔럽지 제벌 쉐쉐 가서의雄贤의 중화다를 미치도
So then, with respect to the way this works within the context of unexcelled yoga as well, the way in which one generates the view, it has to be as explained above in terms of as it has been explained within the system of Madhyamaka as treated above, and that's the case. So establishing the view initially has to be done as previously explained in terms of the four essential points of establishing the view, and then that's necessary, and then someone who has achieved the completion process of yoga and is, although they have to engage in meditative absorption within that context, having placed their minds upon the view, that means they have to have already established the view in order to do that. It's not the case. There's a point, detail here, a detailed point which is important, which is that one shouldn't engage in a lot of analytical meditation in that context. And then the basic text here says, with regard to our own system, tradition here, then even within the context of unexcelled yoga, it's the way in which one generates an understanding of the view has to be just as it has been explained, as it appears in the text of the Madhyamaka tradition. So again, this entails establishing the view by means of the four essential points. Then, in terms of how one maintains once one has to first develop shamatha and vipassana and insight, just as has been explained, and such that they're integrated together, cooperating with each other, and then one does that, and then although it's the case that with respect to the way in which one conducts or preserves one's practice of shamatha and insight, then it is the case that one preserves one's attention upon reality through analysis in some portions of the post-meditative portions of the generation process and completion process. In those post-meditation states, phases of practice, one has to pay attention to an analysis of reality. However, for someone who's achieved the completion process and has obtained the ability to penetrate the essential points in their body, this is referring here to a person who's on the completion process and they've been able to cause the winds within the body to enter, abide, and dissolve within the central channel. Such a person like that, when they're preserving, when they're maintaining their reality within meditative concentration, meditative absorption, then although it's definitely the case that they must necessarily meditate in that context, by having their minds based upon an understanding of the view, it's not they nevertheless within that context should not engage in analytical meditation, insight, analytical meditation, in the way that it appears in other systems, textual systems.
Oh yeah. 아니다 가서 전에 공라 이름다 저런 그 제도 그 가서 안에 태권한 일에 제네 일에 쳐봐 회장 안에 릴레 돈이비 누가 토비 저런 배 냠샤기 내가 가서 안에 태권한이 정원나 따도도 샤네 공바 회장 뒤세 안에 따도도 샤네 따도도 샤병원에 안에 조금 안에 공도 샤봐 중간에 샤봐 나신 아니 중앙 미제도 차라 미제바 군전 대나 미제비 군전 대나 까테르스 다제지도 태권을 좋아하나 따도로 샤네 제지도 좋아 티세나 조금 조비샤라 티데는 제지도 샤빙 안에 아니 유소소 동반이라 소소 조비 조금데 미제바 샤 조비 조금 좀 조비 샤라 자군데 마자바 조비 샤라 다도는这几笔条款呢你光把没做清是大多呢아니 유동반이라 제지도 아니 태권은 공부할 맞아봐 대 맞아 조금 말이 맞았지 대대 제와 조비 군전我到这把매장 다도도 제지비 아니 등은 되라 제지비 등은 되라 아니 공대 조비 군전 제제와 조비 군전남 네가 좀 싸웠던 거 가서 마배배 딜联马拜拜딜 남은 시간 남라 대다지의 군자는 샤도 어다 딜
So then again, as it says that someone who's achieved the completion process of unexcelled yoga, then when they're preserving their understanding of reality within meditative absorption, although it's definitely the case that they must necessarily meditate in that by means of based upon having established the view, based upon the mind having an understanding of the view, they nevertheless should not engage in a lot of analytical meditation. The form of insight which involves analytical meditation, as it appears in other systems of practice or texts that describe other systems of practice, and because of that reason, in that context, aside from having
자공 조비 샤라 자공 조비 자공 마자완 조비 샤라 아니 샤라 다도는 제집이 태권한이데 아니 맞죠 봐 맞죠 치고 그래서 맞죠지
So therefore, in that context, aside from having already established the view by means of analytical meditation, having already done that, one should not engage in analytical meditation, which is single-pointed meditation on reality, on emptiness. One should not do that in that context. And the reasons why it is sufficient to do it in that way that's just been described this is not the occasion to clearly explain those, because here it's the occasion for explaining the reasons for doing the insight meditation as it pertains to the other paths.
Oh yeah, 아니 소소도비 셔러지 제가 나와 땡라 파고 다도도 아니 제주도 네 아니 디체 아니 요동반이라 소소도비 셔러지 제발 매봐 아니 제집이 띵는 딜란 대니 권배 아니 공부 대다 최초벽이 군자남 안들이 싸웠던 바 가서 마배배 딜란 셴남라 세가나 아니 나기 가서래 기름다 조른 가당 아니 파진 TV 값 시라게 값라 냠셴남라 아니 다 가르르서나 네라 돈이라미 비시네 톱 시네 징하나 안에 돈이라미 비 소소 항동 톱네 돈이라미 비 항동 톱네 시네 티가네 아니 야소소도 비셔라 제주도 내외가나 소소소 비셔라지 쪄바데 아니 라미 시야라 대다치비 군자나 공도 아가사선이 셔바데 대다시도 송과래
저 되나 갑자기 조금 제금 좀 비셔라 타토네
대집이 띵이 좀 맞죠지 다 대다 제외 초비 대다 제와 초바 소소 제비 제랍지 마제장 아니 제집에 다도도 제집에 대라 조금 제외 대다 초비 괜찮남 아니 갑자기 싸웠던 바꿔서 마버래 남시야가 대달 체비 균제 아니 가서래 따도도 아니 신의 장배 야 소소도 베셔를 그 제바지 제초바 그 균제인데 아니 광다시 아니 제바이레스 디 남시야나 대달 체비 균제 남시야도
So then the reason why it's sufficient to do it in that way, meaning not here what's being described is that in the context of the unexcelled yoga practice in the completion process of that, one does not engage in the same kind of single-pointed meditation, which is a single-pointed investigation of reality. Rather, instead, one has already established the view before one engages in the practice, and doesn't do the kind of the way it's described in the other systems, other paths and other systems, where one establishes shamatha, and based upon shamatha, one does insight, and the insight there is a single-pointed kind of investigative wisdom which analyzes the object. That's the way it is in the other systems, but one doesn't do that in this context here, and the reasons for why it's sufficient to do it in the way which has just been described, that is, without engaging in the single-pointed analytical investigation of the object, is not. This is not the occasion to clearly explain that, because here. We are explaining the reasons why one should do it in the way that has been described previously. That is, establishing shamatha, developing shamatha, based upon that, developing insight, and then using insight to single-pointedly analyze the object through investigation and analysis. That way of doing it is appropriate for the other paths that we've discussed previously. That is the common Mahayana perfection system path, as well as the mantra system paths that are described in the three lower sets of tantras, as well as also within the context of the generation process, even within unexcelled yoga practice.
Oh yeah, that is it. That's what Shinela Dana Sando Gomzunga Ni. That Tambo Carter Tawanya Vachu. Shinela Gomna Sando Gombala and Shine Gomba Chabala. Ani Tambo Shinegi Miba Tawatana Belkova Yenza. Tambo Tawanya Goa Ni. Ani Dama Betawa Maniana Gomlu Khan Chejang, Kandeju Gomjang. Gomde Tekonanji Tala never mind bears. Gomde or Tekonanji Tombani Tala never mind bear. Tawati Tawanya Gurla, Sinji Kenji, and a Tawa Dana Babashu Tawanya Gurla. Tatawa Yen, Jonju, Ani, Jonjuji, and a Kane Duala. Jonju Murdang, Jonju Te, Ani Cho, Cho's a bent to command of Yisung in Zoo. Ani Zhongzhuji, Ani Joadan, Judan, Mushiki Chaba, that in that Tambo de la Zhongzhu de la Juzi do your arm. Genjo Niga Gova.
So then this leads to the next subject, which is in the translation on page 159. It says that the reason, the actual way in which one develops insight based upon shamatha has multiple subdivisions. The first is showing that one, and here we're talking about it in terms of the view of selflessness, and the necessity of first acquiring the view is explained that whatever system of meditation one is practicing, whatever way one is practicing meditation, if one has not already acquired the view of selflessness, then that meditation is not situated with not abiding upon the object which is reality. It's not situated upon. It's not abiding upon the object which is reality, and thus it's essential. It's necessary to acquire the view, the correct view.
Oh yeah, that 가서를建筑그 공리가 그 준전되라 따위 과장 여장 따와 생각이 아니 다 랑게 슝루라 최선 채와를 때네 아니 다 과점 여장 과점 여바장 메치 봐 아니 대관하니 땡라 밤니 저 오니 땡라 파디 아니 공비체 땡라 파비 따와디 캔디 아니 티띵도 아니 샤네 마곰나 아니 대관하니 요거 민주회 와 고마 민주회 아니 따위 제바 차를 온도 따위 타를 나 가르서나 따위 제바 리베 제바 체데 따위 제바 차를 온도 따위 타를 아니 태권하니 고마 많이 받체 지양 미셈바 줘봐야 아니 태권하니 좀 말해.
So then, the reason why it's necessary the actual reason why it's necessary to have both analytical meditation as well as placement meditation is explained next. And it says that if one, even though one has an understanding of the view, here understanding of the view referring to simple understanding achieved through studying it, and through thinking about it. If one has not actually established the view through thoroughly established the view, then at the time that one is meditating on reality, if one has not is not doing the meditation by having placed one's mind upon the the view that you've already established through recalling that view, then that sort of meditation will not be meditation on reality. And then, if one has simply superficially analyzed the view, just done it briefly, analyzed the view before one meditates, and then when one actually engages in meditation, one places one's mind in a state where it's not thinking of anything whatsoever, it's not thinking at all, then that is not maintaining a meditation which is on reality.
Oh yeah, 다 공도 따와 땡라 범니 아니 따와데 전에 아니 따도도 샤니 뒤등도 샤바 잠시라 광바양 따도도 샤바 잠시라 광바옴 응알지 아니 대라지지 제지도 미네 샤바 잠데 응알제비 시내의 정도 니도 샤베 시내의 정도 테레마도 상동구 정도 말어와 인자 시내의 정도 니도 샤베 아니 가소래 텔레 술비 다 공도 샤바비 라 다이 차바 차량아도 다음에 타를 아니 찔레미 지양 일람 미세바 선바 줘봐 시송할 텐지 텔레 수바기 상동 정도 샤바니 슝구테 말이.
So then, here, then, even if then, so that kind of meditation, not thinking about anything whatsoever, not paying attention to anything whatsoever, is not the way of maintaining a meditation focused on reality. And then likewise, even if one meditates by having recalled the view that one has already established, and then places one's mind, merely places one's mind upon that view, and then meditates on that way, and develops a single-pointed concentration upon that view, then that way of doing meditation is also is nothing but the way in which one maintains meditation on shamatha, the shamatha meditation, which has been previously explained. And however, if one doesn't, if someone has a way of explaining the way of explaining the way one maintains insight, which is apart from that which we've explained previously, such as not having a single-pointed understanding of the view and then engaging in analytical investigation of the object that one has established by the view, but rather one simply places one's mind in a state in which one is not paying attention to anything whatsoever, then that is not that's not the meaning of the way in which one practices insight as it's explained in the texts.
아니 자금이가 배내 지고야 돼. 다 진짜 송과래. 배고와. 대지 남의 배태. 아니 다 가서 리뱅아를 떼라 파바게. 야, 남의 배태라 나를 셔봐 따르. 아니 다시 내진 안에 소소도 배 셔럽지 째네 장화 차오. 장화 차오. 아니 제비 곰 지보 채나야. 다 소소도 배 셔럽 그 제보 지보 채나야. 양심 제지바데 냠바 주와 제지바데라 냠바 주와 제지도 냠바 줘바데라 냠바 제베도지 아니 제지비 띵은데라 냠바 주와 제나야 나르 제비 신내 냠바 제지비 띵은점 신내 냠바 주와 신내지 따라 껴네 신내 팅 안에 아니 따라 껴네大了卷呢，俺那说都被写了的，接的讲话的。爬都，俺那说都被写了个结巴没吧，俺那样看结巴个当把你听了，俺那这就都叫我们结巴的，别嘛去过来，别嘛吵。
So then, then is explained how one necessarily has to alternate between analytical meditation and placement meditation. One needs to alternate between each of these. One needs to employ both of them and alternate between them. And it says then, therefore, at this point, one has to, one must preserve, maintain one's meditation by having investigated it by wisdom. Here, investigated the meaning of selflessness as it's been explained previously. So, selflessness, as been previously been explained and established above, is the object, and then one using investigation of that. By means of wisdom which investigates that, one needs to maintain the meditation practice. And however, if one solely employs analytical meditation, here this is referring to the wisdom which investigates the nature of things, this kind of analysis. If one does that, then it will degrade the shamatha which you've generated previously, and therefore it says being mounted on the horse of shamatha, mounted on the horse of shamatha, the shamatha being like the horse, and mounted upon it means from within the condition of shamatha, within that condition of shamatha. Then one needs to analyze and engage, maintain one's meditation by while analyzing the object, and then from time to time, one needs to alternate that analysis with single-pointed placement meditation, returning the mind to a single-pointed placement upon the object that one has analyzed previously.
Oh yeah, they tend to say so. You put out your be shared. You may see an dollar journey. Tata only be training. Tanzania media times a jiba. Sushi Jubi, and be shared of it. Can you talk about logic? Jenny? Oh, that and the loving to dinner, someone I see Jenny. You put out your be shared of tea, said Annie Castle. What a synergy goes to Dana Papa, and a Tony Dobby. Any Sinati Hane, and you put out Jubi, share of teas. Put out Choba said the Jidan Disungua in Bada. Put out Choba, say Gana. Then do the Zane, Maneba. Lumba Pusumba Nana, and Palan Sheriff, Palan Pango Pajudo, which is Zani Gana, and a chain imagine that Pajuzana Mendu, put, and Mendu Yamaki Logigra, or 10 Nashi Chenny, and a Gaja Dendu de Pumbutin to Zawana, Kanya, Maneba. Or the Manebagi, and the Samatomani, Mingi Tata Mato. Rangang oil to a dozen mebaki, and the Jordan Megatella Yambashayaki, you or tenderly you put out your Tawadella Soso to be shared of tea, you put out to be shared of tea. Your machine dollar journey, and a shinegi dollar journey. Gigi Patti, send me about or Chiroji Villa mining, but that ought to Dana Papa tell us and to me dollar journey, jetty. Don't emission like Journeys. Sineti Hane, and a Tadra Umiri reported that Sani, and he also such a Bisharaka Jaba. Tadra Umiri between years. Tanzi media comes at Jicheba, Siga, and a Tanzi media, and a Rashinji Trubam, Gata, Ramana Truba, the Jiba Cheba. And it's all Sushin Jibi, and be shared of the Tinito Logic Java, said what that. So the need to alternate between analytical meditation and placement meditation is also explained in a verse in the abbreviation of the stages of the path. And that verse says that by means of the wisdom which is able to definitively ascertain the way in which things exist, here where it says definitively ascertain definitively definitively determine the way things exist. One can understand that word definitively determine as analogous to when a cow or a sheep or something has gone astray and is left. You can't. You've lost a cow or a sheep, and it's gone off, and you're looking for it. And so you decide that if it has to be within a certain pasture, and so you go out and you look for that, and you search throughout the entire extent of that pasture, and you find that it's not anywhere in that pasture at all, and then you realize that the cow or sheep is gone. So that this wisdom is analogous to that, in that it examines looking for the way things exist, particularly in terms of the appearance of things as being real, as a object to be negated. When it examines to see whether or not that status of being real exists within if one's doing it in terms of the relationship between the I and the aggregates as the basis of designation, one looks for whether or not the I exists as is real as it appears designated upon the aggregates.
and then one finds, after exhaustively searching for that, that real I, finds that it's not to be found anyway whatsoever, so therefore one knows that it doesn't exist. And then that entails the non-existence of the I as it appeared to be real, but it's nevertheless, it doesn't negate the nominal existence of the I as still there, remaining. And so that is the wisdom which is sort of the definitive ascertainment of the way things exist. And then in conjunction with that, one has to employ shamatha. The wisdom there is the insight portion of it. And then one also has to have shamatha, which is without any distraction. Like in the yingmei shine.
Yingmei shine ta la gyöne ni.
No. So on being, it's similar to, as it says in the text here, having mounted upon the horse of shamatha. This shamatha then is devoid of any kind of it doesn't get distracted, or it doesn't waver. It's unwavering.
아니 소소도 비셔라고 제 예매실라 때는 견견니 아니 가서 선생 좀 예매실에 따라서는 타다 의미를 비춰내지 다다와 루제기 아니 공도 시아바 내시당 단데라서 의미를 받고 쳐는 버디 아니 텐딩기 미대 가자랑신지 주바디 지바쳐봐 텐딩 미제 탐제 직체봐 집 제바게 수신집이 양비 셔럽지 텐다비 아니 동 텐지 미대가비 아니 동바텔라 수신집이 양비 셔럽지 아니 등이 또 별로지 제와지 수신집이 될 등이 아니 대관에 또 별로지 제와지 제와지 송하나 진짜네 다 된다 되리.
So then, so this unwavering, undistractable shamatha is like the horse that one is mounted upon, and then with that, then one has the sword, which is able to cut through all of the extremes. So here, the sword is that which enables one to cut through the extremes of the existence of extreme of existence and non-existence. So one is that the sword is the view which is separated from those extremes, and then in that way one is able to 타진
밑에 가지 와 밑에서 강연 근시바 남조나或者지바지자래 밑에서 강연 근시바.
So then with that sword, one's able to cut through all of the focal points, the objects that one perceives as existing as real, the objects that appear for the misapprehension of things as being real, able to cut through all of those. And so with that sword, then it says one is able to, one is in this prayer, praying to that one's Tamadi.
아니 돈이 도박이 돈이 도비 소소 가서 단지 단지 미제 탐제 지체바 수신집이 양비 현업지 등이 도비 로리 제와제 미대가비 아니 사모 동반이지 대관은이 도비 아니 현업지 로리 제와제 사측된다 되는 질다.
So then the last line says, may I make my wisdom increase such that it's able to cut through all of these misconceptions, the objects of which are the like focal points for the And then the prayer is also praying to be blessed, to be able to achieve that kind of that sort of wisdom which investigates, analyzes emptiness, so as to cut through all of the focal points of the misapprehension of things as being real.
Oh yeah, that's it. That's 조금 전종이 손대 조거에 뒤에 가르래 sana 제바 망차나 제바 망와 차니 아니 양 내자도 충을 조거에나 아니 그래서 내양 조금 지그래 아니 조금 망 장차니 아니 양 소소집에 조금 제주도 내와도 망차래 아니 제바는 내나 아니 제바 그죠 다 대순 거래. 대양 자고 마베 소소도비 셔럽지 자바데 망찬에 아니 유동반이라 내 제주도 내와데 마 체중도 송부연나 소나 아니 야 조금 마도 채라 아니 대지 내자 바 체중도 저와데 야서 주바 소숑 양 제주도 냠바 저바 망찬에 아니 什么东西天了，俺说今年没得巴掌，浙江俺那样落台了，东西做了，做明年吧，俺那开始做明年吧，那家了谁去做呢？是吧？开始做没得巴掌，浙江做明年吧，俺那样说到现在这边做明年吧钱，那家了谁去做呢？俺那结果忙都钱的，结果忙都得的，是了前年。 시라니 찬냠지 겁나 똑체베 대달 차디스다 야
So then it says that if one's analysis is excessive, then one's ability to remain upon the object will become too little, will diminish too much. So and if that occurs, then one has to engage in placement meditation. Whereas if one's placement meditation is excessive, then that impairs one's ability to perform analysis, and then one needs to increase the analytical part of the meditation. And then the basic text here says that if one's analytical meditation has become excessive, then and one's ability to remain upon the object single-pointedly, that portion of the meditation is diminished too much. Then one needs to increase one's placement meditation, and so as to revive the portion of the meditation which is one needs to revive it such that the portion of the meditation which is remaining on the object is increased. And then likewise, if on the other hand, when one is meditating and if one's stable placement meditation, the fixation on the object is excessive, then one will one won't have the wish to engage in analysis, to investigate and analyze the object, and even if and such that chekyang drominyampa chekyang drominyampa 조금 망해
조금 망한다고 주님 믿어봐 주님 아니 소소도 비셔라 그 주님 믿어봐다 그래서 아니 가서래 제장 아니 drominyampa 소소도 비셔라 drominyampa 아니 셈내자라 시리 조그이나 다양 제고 많지고래
So then, if one's placement meditation is excessive, then one won't wish to engage in analysis, investigate the object, and the mind won't even if one tries to analyze the object, the mind won't go towards, won't listen and go in that direction. So if that occurs, and the mind becomes entirely enveloped in the abiding portion portion of the meditation, this sort of fixation, stabilization portion of the meditation, then one needs to increase the analytical portion of the meditation. And if one does it that way, then, and if one meditates in that way, such that the two portions of it, both the shamatha and the insight portions, are equalized. So equalizing the two portions of the shamatha and insight, then they'll become much more powerful, and thus one needs to do it in that way.
아니 시라니 차좀봐 소소 껴봐대당 내자 니오디 아니 차냐비 겁나 아니 또 채배 대다 채고리 다 대다 채고비 시제대라 아니 까말라시리 고르 타막 가수 양 강기체 상동 권배 서가나 유동반이라 아니 소소도비 셰라고 쩨비 상동 권배 아니 소소도비 셰라 신도 아니 셰쳐와지 아니 소소도비 셰라베 셰쳐와데 페데 아니 소소를 쩨바데 아니 뭐 셰쳐와데 페데 디세 아니 스미바 동반이라 이나레 미바텔라 내전데 아니 시내디 충위칠 시내 내제의 마찬 소소도비 셰라 제차외 아니 내차 마 냠디 잠바 뉴이칠 마메 룽라 샤바 신도 마음에 그 룽라 샤예나 아니 룽게 마음에도 요와 나시 체니 아니 심 동반이라 아니 가서를 제주 잡아라 요와 이장 마음에 룽라 샤바 신도 심 예외 아니 미바 대관하니지 아니 싸와 미동와 규대 제주도 나와 미동와 규대 디세니 디세 준전 디세 아니 다야 소소도 베셔라 그 잡아도 봐 뉴도 따네 아니 셈미발라 제주 내와데라 아니 야 신의 공부 차오 스타트 중티 지바라지 지세제 장거로
So again, it says that one needs to, if one meditates such that one is equalizing both portions of shamatha and vipassana, then it has much more force, power, and thus one needs to do it in that way. And then the source text for this, or the evidence drawn from a text, is in the last of the stages of meditation, text by Master Kamalashila, where he says that also when by having meditatively developed or cultivated insight, if then by doing that, if one's investigative analytical wisdom has become very excessive, then at that time, then one's shamatha will become insufficient and will diminish. That is, the mind won't be able to, by analyzing, if one's investigative analytical wisdom has become too much, then the shamatha will diminish. The stabilization of the mind will diminish to an excessive degree, and then it will be just like a lamp which has been placed in the wind. Just like a lamp placed in the wind, the mind will waver, and that being so, then one won't be able to see clearly, very clearly. One won't be able to see very clearly reality, which is what one is investigating with this analytical, investigative wisdom. And therefore, at that time, one should engage in meditation of shamatha to meditatively develop one's shamatha.
니 로비 미싱 아니 요강 싸워마도 태권하는 싸워 통화 민주디 대다외나 디체 아니 셰럽 공부 차오 다양 소소도 비 셰럽 기 소소 제디 아니 요동반이라 소소도 비 셰럽 소소도 비 셰럽 지켜버 제박이 아니 셰럽 공부 차고래 아니 양도도 조금 가쳐
So likewise, if one's shamatha, here single-pointed focus on the object, has become excessive as well, then you'll be just like a person who has fallen asleep, who is unconscious due to sleep, similar to that. And then one won't be able to see reality very clearly in that condition. And that being the case, since that's the case, then at that time as well, one needs to develop, cultivate one's investigative wisdom, analytical wisdom, in that situation.
Oh yeah, that tendrege, that kasore. Just to be shared with Jabadang, and it's to Jabba new ane sungje gwewa ane zeju nyamba jodu jamba de nyandi ane share so jaba ko de kan yan pa ta shuwa na shin ja ta jen jo sungde jen ro gu re chen su ai ba ta dini to ba tham je dinjin ji chen zu du su ne jia gong guo ba mi ri ba ni jia gong guo ba mi ri ba ni ro ta de ge so re ta 도바 탐제라 안에 된증이 천진도 주소네 도바 탐제 안에 천진이 된증이 다 하상기 따와 나시자님 그러와 진가나 이가기 안에 나니 들어라 직바인바다 아니 치가나 이기 소자냐 소자와 직바인바 뭐 대나시자님 bel라샤니 가시들이 송구도와 인자 대다 전에 정화라 도바 강인 탐제 대바 준비 천진도 손네 도바 강인 탐제 대바 준비 천진수나 고반이 미대대 다 대권한 일라 집에 가라 도바 탐제 까고래 오 고바데 미대대 된전지 도바니 초지그래 된전그 도바데 도비 초지 인배 꼴로 친지로 아니 그 현유 아니 타냐 대한 매봐 아니 그 현유 가봐 아니 가담데 동반이 예바 콘도 마음을 두타려 봐
都被抽起
오바 탐제 된지지 천준도 손에 아니 자공 고바 메르시 소소도 비셔라 자와 거야 말이스 다텔라
So then this leads into the question that some people hold that all thought are all forms of thought. They hold the position that all thought is holding to images of the images which are misapprehended as being real in all cases. So this is in reference to a view of a master named who was a Hashang, and he had the position that all thought is to be negated. And was of the opinion that thought is like clouds that obscure the sun. Whether it's white-colored clouds or dark-colored clouds, they equally obscure the sun. Or it's like dogs. Whether you're bitten by a white dog or a black dog, it doesn't matter. You're still bitten by a dog. So he felt that all thought is something to be stopped. And it was of the opinion that whatever is all thought is necessarily an apprehension of the images that are held by the misapprehension of things as being real. And then so he said that therefore analytical meditation is to be negated, is not to be engaged in. And this next passage, there's other people that have views like this as well, have had views like this, and this is incorrect. And this passage says that Therefore, if one meditates like that, preserves analytical meditation as described above, and here again, this is in reference to, as in the immediately preceding passage, where one establishes placement meditation, shamatas, that form of placement meditation, and then engages in analytical meditation, the investigative or analytical wisdom, which is the character of insight meditation. And one has to conjoin them and alternate them as previously described. So then, if one maintains that kind of process and one with respect to to maintaining one's analysis throughout this process, then it's incorrect. It's incorrect to say that whatever is all forms of thought are necessarily holding on to the misapprehension of the images, which are misapprehended by the view that holds things to be real. That's incorrect. And then the it says so it's negating thought as such is incorrect. It says, so here, with respect to thought, which misapprehends things as being real, that is merely one portion of thought. There are forms of thought. The misapprehension of things as being real is an incorrect form of thought, because the object that it apprehends, the thing as if it was real, is completely non-existent. So therefore, it's a completely erroneous form of thought. But other forms of thought, and then that form of thought which misapprehends things as being real, cannot be established validly, even conventionally, whereas other forms of thought are conventionally valid.
Oh yeah, 렌즈지 또바네 또바 초직자 민배 또바 대라양 또바 튼든다 튼민은 야나 또바 치지로다 치지 말아봐니 그러와 다 렌즈라서 로로시대다 아니 가서래 추이셔와다 로베셔와 카가래 그러와 로베셔와 대다기 아니 현유 탄야대 매봐 추이셔와 그 현유 탄야대 요아래 이제 현유 탄야대 이거와 이다 또바 치지 말아봐 스나면도 또바 튼디 고주된 토마 고주 굴제지 된단라 바바게 또바 탐제 안에 다 가서 또바 튼디 안에 또바 체마 또바 튼디 샤시리 다 치지로고 또바 되라 안에 가서 로베셔바다 안에 치지로고 또바 인자 또바 탐 초지 점 안에 가서 덴지기 또바네 또바 초지를 마도 또바 탐제 아니 덴지 말이스더라 아니 또바 튼디 요바리스 아니 파람 마도 바디 유네루지 된단라 바바 뭐 고주고 된단라 바바가 참아 탐제 또바면도 아니 가서래 홍수 요 말이스 그러와
팔람
소스티비 내가라 고주고 된 토마단라 바비 참아대라 아니 또바면도 무슨 요 말이스
록셰단 주시 개발이
록셰단 주시에서나 주시라도 안에 가서 또바 참아 요아래 로베시와라 또바 참아 요아래
So then, with regard to this, where it says that this thought, which is the misapprehension of things as being real, is merely one portion of thought. Here, there's various forms of thought, which accords with the way things are, which accords with the actual, thought, which is a cognition that accords with fact. And then there's thought, which is cognition which does not accord with fact. These two different forms have to be distinguished. The misapprehension of things as being real is a cognition which does not accord with fact, because in fact things are not real. Whereas the understanding of things as they actually exist conventionally is a form of thought which accords with fact. So in order to distinguish these, we have to differentiate incorrect thought which is simply incorrect insofar as the object that appears to it is completely non-existent, as opposed to thought which is mistaken in that the object appears to it in a mistaken form, but the actual object that it is referring to does exist conventionally. That is, and it can be established through valid cognition. So we have to distinguish those two kinds. And likewise, with respect to the establishment of emptiness within the context of ordinary persons, as they're coming to an understanding of emptiness, this emptiness here is a hidden object which can only be ascertained validly via inference, and therefore inference itself in this is a form of thought. And the inference that establishes the existence of emptiness conventionally is valid, a valid form of thought, which accords with fact. So for those who are on ordinary beings, they don't have. There's no way they can have perception of emptiness. Because it's a hidden object, and so the only way that they can come to establish it validly is through thought. They necessarily have to employ thought.
Oh yeah, that tenderly Sando dan ando ke cheba cheme sheba. True sheba da lobe sheba ke cheba shema ma sheba la dene. Ani that toba tanza changing toba yo to song go ambare. Right? That dene 또배 강수가 탐제 나와 테레마서 군주 체전도 성화를 대담 매제다 대담 체전을 성나 르 강수 천진 인야바 야 군주비 체전 르 강수 탐제 된다 근데 천진 말이 전에다 비체라 르 강수 탐제 천진레 시람나야 미르바데라 또배 강도 성라 또배 강도 성화라 르베네 반바와 통하니 스타타지니 또바 탐제 난도도 성네 또배 가수 담제라 리빈네 바바와 통하니 다 리비 가자 타쳐와리 리비 가자 가주 타쳐와 그 가자 찹쳐와 나신자님 리비 가자 타치비 군대 인신 룽기태야 민배 룽기태야 멤버 줄라스 최전현라 대단 미대장 천이 라려 가수 담제 대신이 제대로 냠나 스타 최전현 구조원에서 다 매대장 아니 천이라 가수 담제 아니 된지레스나 천이 라려 가수 담제 된지지 천지이나 냠나 태양 진주예위 괴레스 태양 진주예위 괴예지 가수 담제 라민데스 태양 진주예위 괴인데 르 가수 탐제라 민데스 야나야 대주다.
So this leads into the next point. So here in this point that we've just discussed, one has to be able to discriminate between good thought and bad thought. Good thought which understands things correctly, and bad thought which does not understand things correctly. And so that's a crucial point. And not only that, it would be incorrect for someone to think as follows, and here the person is taking that they're of the opinion that although we don't accept that with respect to so I'm a little bit tied up in this subject. Subject
군접 체전도 송화라 안에 대단 미대장 라 간도 또봐 강의다 또 매제장 전담 체제도 송알라 또 아니 그래서 대성도 와 매제장 전담 체제도 송알 려 가수들의 천진이 양바대야 그 말이 어때
So then, when not only is it the case that one should not simply negate thought, period, but it's also incorrect to think that someone might say that, well, I don't say that all forms of thought which are related to phenomenal things, here phenomenal things being the bases for emptiness. Phenomenal things are the base upon which an emptiness is the property based upon them. So this person, opponent here is saying, well, I don't accept it with respect to everything, to all of the phenomenal things which are the base. However, when one takes the ultimate as that which one is investigating, take that as the base, then the other opponent here thinks that whatever one is holding by thought, by intellect, is a apprehension of an image. So they're thinking that this opponent here is thinking that whatever is intellectually cognized is the apprehension of some kind of image. That's incorrect. And it says there that so this person here is saying their view is that they're saying that they see that that whatever is held by thought, whether it's good or bad, is they're of the belief that this is subject to being contradicted by reasoning, and so they have this kind of understanding of what it means for things which are held by thought to be contradicted by reasoning. This is a misapprehension of what it means to be negated by reasoning. This person is, on the other hand, they're taking the object of negation of reasoning in an overextended sense. They're taking the object of negation and expanding it beyond its proper boundaries, and by doing that, they are engaging in deprecation or undervaluation of that which is to be understood here, that in particular to thought as such. And this also is that kind of view that the opponent is presenting here is something which is cannot be established as the meaning of the text, the scriptures either.
That's right.
So this opponent then thinks that, well, I don't accept this, I don't apply this to other sorts of things which are phenomenal. However, I'm of the opinion that whatever one intellectually apprehends with respect to dharmata, the nature of things, then all of that is apprehension of images which are held to be real. All of that is apprehending just merely the apprehension of images. And that kind of idea which the opponent is entertaining here is really just a defect of a fault of a defective way in which they're holding things. However, and it does not apply to everything which is to be held or apprehended.
Oh. 려 가서다 된진지 천진이냐나 태양 안에 천이라 려 가서 담제 된신이 된가대양 진주 예비 깨래 진주 예비 깨인지 천이라양 려 가서다 려 천이 가서 탐제 아니 된지 말이 민데 가수 탐제라 민데 춘동 나 주로 통화서 가나 제가 치마 디펜 제가 디친제라 아니 치마 그 주로 통화 디펜제 니라 통화서 춘동 초가 되니 타바 되니지 농르기고 투만에 아니 춘이 제저거와 성위치로 제저거와 성와 인장 아니 리 가수 탐제 춘이라 아니 춘이 좀 받이 대신 말이 세대 전다 저거래 초가 되니지 농르기고 투만에 대권하니라 제저거와 성위치로
So this way of holding the idea that any kind of having any kind of intellectual apprehension of reality is necessarily a kind of erroneous grasping at an image of reality, and is that whatever one intellectually understands about reality, all of this is merely a misapprehension, grasping at an image, which is a form of the apprehension of things as being real. This idea is itself just a fault of a sort of defective apprehension of the nature of reality. And this is not applicable to all apprehensions of reality. It's not applicable. So someone who is striving for liberation, who is looking beyond this life, they're looking towards their future lives. They have to necessarily, it's taught in the scriptures, it's taught by means of reasoning as well in multiple ways, that such a person who is looking for liberation, they necessarily have to engage in extensive analysis of the nature of reality. They have to investigate it conclusively.
Oh, yeah, that's Ribi Gaja Tachi, Kundu Yinshi, Lungi Tanya member Tuba said the Lundi Paget de Injiri. Mida Navana, Tama means said Toyikasu, or Tedaki, Ane, or Tedaki, Ane, Tama Maimba Shaba Maris, Doi Tem Maimba, or de Injiri Paget, Tedaki Lun Tedaki, Ane, turned member Tubla.
So when they say that they're of the opinion that any form of cognition of reality is that's involved with thought is necessarily an apprehension of the image, an image which itself is necessarily a misapprehension of things as being real. They're being misled by an incorrect understanding of the scripture, and the scripture that they're probably is in referenced here is where it says there's a scripture that says that the eye is not a valid awareness, valid knowledge. The ear is not valid knowledge, etc. It lists the different sense faculties and says that they're not valid knowledge.
Oh yeah, that DJ Jobata Lani Cheni. Ani, the Tekwanani company, Mitoba Kibichina, Tony Combati, Yanjanaba, any Mitoba, Kibichina. Ani Soso Tobalani, Mitoba Kigumaris. Ani Gundeni with the Jesus Tunkure, Yamna. Mitoba Combala, Mitoba Dang, Gudan Revenu with the Jesus Congress. Yendam, Mitoba Combi, Tony Combati, Mitoba Combi Cheres. And the Soso Tobalani, and the Mitoba Kikumari, Gundeni with Jesus Tunkumari.
So then the opponent here could also say that there's an argument about this as well, that first the opponent's position is presented and then the reply to that is presented. And it says, the opponent is here saying that meditating on reality is, one meditates on reality in order to generate non-conceptuality. Therefore, and since that's the case, it doesn't arise, that non-conceptuality can't arise from investigation. From conceptual investigation, analysis of things. And the reason for that, they say, is that because cause and effect necessarily have to accord with one another. So the opponent here is saying the effect that one is after is non-conceptual understanding of reality, and therefore the conceptual understanding of reality can't serve as a cause for the arising of that kind of effect. We'll stop there for now.